Hey, this is Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I'm standing at the edge of a woods that is near our house, and I'm standing here with a dead tree that I had cut down by a group of people that were in our area cutting under power lines a couple of weeks ago. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about tree removal and tractors, because if you buy a compact tractor or any kind of tractor and you live in timber and you have a dead tree, your tendency may be to take the dead tree out with a tractor. And I want to tell you a few things today, some pointers to keep you safe, and tell you how this is kind of not a very good idea. The first thing I learned about trees, when I was a kid growing up, we had a dead tree in our yard, and it had a huge limb hanging out over an outbuilding, a little woodshed. And Dad hired some people that were professional tree cutters to come cut the tree down. And what they decided to do was hook a long chain to the top of the tree as far up as they could get, and the other end to the pickup truck, and they would notch the tree and try to cut it away from the woodshed, even though all the weight was headed toward the woodshed with this big limb that was hanging out over the woodshed. They would hook that chain on and put the truck in reverse and pull the tree back toward them and defy gravity. And it didn't work. Once there was a man and a woman, the woman in the truck and the man cutting the tree down, he got it notched, and when the tree started to fall, she gunned it in reverse, and the tree fell right on the woodshed and dragged the truck away. Point number one, if you're trying to pull a tree against gravity, in other words, if you've got limbs hanging out and you're trying to pull the tree back, that generally doesn't work. The weight of a large, fully mature tree will drag a tractor with it. So don't think that's a possibility. Point number two, the all-time easiest way to get rid of a tree is when they've been dead a long time. You can walk up to a small tree sometimes and just give it a push, and it'll just crack off at the base and fall over. This particular tree I'm standing next to was about that big around, and I actually went up to it and I thought, well, it's been dead a while. I might take the tractor bucket and push it over. That's kind of a really bad idea. I don't recommend it. But I tried it, and I thought maybe it would break off at the base. And if it broke off at the base, I didn't have to pay someone to come cut it down, and I didn't have to worry about ever hitting the stump when I brush hogged. Well, I took the loader bucket up, and I just kind of tapped it against the tree, and I gave the tractor just a little bit of fuel, and it didn't move the tree, and that's when I stopped. That's when you're in a real dangerous situation, and again, I don't recommend that. I had a man thought for a minute. I thought, well, I'll back up and take a run at it, but here's what would have happened had I done that, possibly. You have a tree standing up, and it's rotten, and there were no limbs on this tree. It's just kind of a straight stick going up in the air. And if you come in with the loader up in the air to try to hit the tree and break it off at the base, here's what could happen. Number one, you could bend your loader. And that's pretty easy to do. A loader is really not designed to go at speeds into a fixed object and not have damage done to the loader. That's the number one thing. But the real danger is if the tree is up like this and you come in like this and Woody Woodpecker has been going around the middle part of it, the impact may not sever the base, but it may break the top off, and the top would come right down on top of you. And that's what I was in real danger of having happened to me. So I want to caution you on that. Don't ever run into a tree. The way I did it, I just went up and tapped it. I thought it might be rotten enough it would break it loose, but even if it had broken it loose, it could still fall lots of different ways. So you want to be really, really careful. And I think the best advice I could give you, if you have dead trees, do what I did and hire some guys that cut them for a living to cut them down and get them on the ground, and then you can move them around anywhere you want to with your tractor. All right, the third piece of advice I have today. A lot of people buy a tractor with a backhoe thinking, I've got some land to clear, I'll cut these trees down, and then I'll dig the stumps out. It can be done. I have a viewer that has a video that lasts 45 minutes, and that's just part one, showing in actual time how long it takes to dig a stump out of the ground with a backhoe. It can be done. He actually did it with a subcompact tractor. I'm going to post a link down below. If you want to see in real time how long it takes to dig a stump out of the ground, you can watch this video. But I'm going to tell you, most people have no idea, number one, how long it takes to dig a stump out of the ground, and number two, how big a hole is left over once you dig that tree out of the ground. You'll have basically an Olympic-sized swimming pool hole dug when you get a fair-sized tree out of the ground. I actually was interviewing a dealer for a story. I do some writing on the side, and the dealer said the customer he feared the worst was a customer that thought he could take 20 acres of stumps and dig them out with a small compact tractor, and his exact words were, he won't live long enough to get that job done. So it's a way bigger job than you probably think it is to dig a stump out. My preferred way of doing it, again, is to hire somebody, break down, hire somebody with a stump grinder, cut that stump off as low as you can, and there's guys that'll do that for a living. They'll come in with a stump grinder. It's a saw that just saws that stump off below ground level, and it's gone and forgotten about, and you're done. You can plant grass on top of it, and your job is done. But you want to be real careful trying to get trees on the ground with your tractor, and you want to know ahead of time, before you invest a lot of money in a backhoe, how much time and effort it's going to take to dig a stump out of the ground. It can be done. It's quite a job. Hey, I appreciate you watching. I survive on web traffic. I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with other tractor enthusiasts and like my Facebook page. And hey, if you got questions or comments, put them below. I'll try to answer them. Hey, thanks for watching.